Some strange stuff going on in here. Just lost a lot of recording, so I guess what we'll do is start it off. This is The Twisted Mind, Fueling Thought, Season 1, Episode 5, Improvisational Style. I'm your host, Colby Van Wagoner, and we're going to do it like this, break it down a little bit, change up the pace. Got a new format today, so it's all about you. That's what I'm saying. Broadcasting from the Tintic High Desert Mountains. First of all, I think I want to break it down and tell you a little story. Kick it off with a little last night drive. It was nice, relaxing, driving through the desert, listening to some smooth jams. Desert music, driving, road tripping. Highway 6. Turn back around, driving up a back road. The back roads, baby. Anyway, driving along, slow speed, rabbit road. That's what it's called. Lots of rabbits, obviously, ironically. I'm driving with my brights and soon hit something in the middle of the road. Yeah, I thought I'll just swerve around, but I slowed down. I see this shape slowly drop in on the road and land. And it's about I could tell it's about 2 feet tall, 2.5. About 1:30 in the morning, just had to get out of the house. And I pulled forward a little bit more, and this creature turns its head around, looks at me, picks up the object off the road, spreads its wings, and slowly levitates into the sky. In its claws, it's holding a rabbit. It was an owl. The most amazing, visceral experience on the back roads. And I really enjoyed seeing the natural cycle of life. The circle of life. And I'm not gonna sing the song. But anyway, it was really cool. So today, I thought I'd change up the pace and the format. Twisted Mind, Fueling Thought. Brought to you by Earth's natural resource, water. Glorious gallons of water. Too bad it's not free. Nothing is free. So, anyway, we're going to make this about you. It's all about turning that high perception around and focusing on you and the outside world. I know I haven't been out for a while. Not in public. I went grocery shopping for the first time wearing a mask. For you. For everybody out there. To make you feel comfortable. We need to feel comfortable in these crisis times, at least the media would like to portray. Because we know if it wasn't for what you have posted online and what you are contributing to, crisis situations, mass hysteria, panic, divided, War of the Worlds, Orson Welles. Oh, protest. You tell me what is going to make a difference? How are we going to change? Is leadership effective? Is the current administration effective? After 3.5 years, what is it? Today is July 14th. Let's just say August, September, October, November. August, September, October, November. 4 months leading up to the next process of change and voting and getting out and making a difference. Let's not talk about politics. That sure stirs up the beehive. So, what do you expect? What do you want? What do you need? What is going to satisfy your internal, peaceful chakras and all of your desires? What is going to calm your emotions? A lot's changed since the last broadcast of The Twisted Mind. I've fueled a lot of thought. I've come to the conclusion it's a cycle that repeats. When I wake up in the next morning, the cycle begins all over again. It all happens when you log in, your password might not work, and suddenly we have a whole plethora of news to shift through. The media just flooding our minds, overloading our brains. I can't tell you how much amazement happens in a day now. And I could just let you know that today we're going to focus on what you see. We're going to turn that reflection around in the mirror and see what's happening in your world. So what's happening? We got the coronavirus. Bath fitter, dental plans, cheap business consultant. Hey, what? You got some Delta airline news with the CEO. Your world is telling me in entertainment apparently there's some changes going on with Dancing with the Stars. The Dancing with the Stars hosts will be replaced. Looking for new hosts. Well, that's great. COVID virus. What's it like now to visit the theme parks that have recently opened up? I could only imagine how wonderful it would be to see you at your favorite theme park, walking around, enjoying the outdoors. Where would you go? Would you jump on the roller coaster with your mask, standing in long lines, or apparently maybe no lines at all, but still wearing your mask because 6 feet, you got to stay 6 feet. You've got to stay 6 feet away from people with a mask because it's going to save you from getting COVID-19. There is so many different claims taking place right now. I'm not even going to go, what should I say? If you are out and you touch the surface, some say it's airborne. Do you believe it's airborne? If it's airborne, and these masks that are not quality masks, people just make them out of shirts, cloth material. We're walking around with our masks. I have some masks. I'd like to thank my friends for sending me some masks. I have this new theory that the second wave of a virus is that it's causing more damage to feed into the frenzy of mass hysteria. Because this is just nature taking its course. You mess around for too long with all of these bacterias, close quarters with food production, any kind of food, this or that, say it's a hoax, it's all fake news, then why are we so concerned about it? We've had 100 years since 1918 and everything in between. H1N1, swine flu. The Ebola virus. Other virus. Influenza. The flu virus. Germs. Wash your hands. You go outside, you got to wash your hands again. Sanitize. The second wave, as a disclaimer that this is fictional, Stupido 2020. Stupido virus is the second wave that's now happening because too many people were locked down and you were all inside your houses, and this is about you. I have no control over it. I've accepted that. I'm fine with it. I'm just going to sit here and talk about what I see with people presenting online, social media, the media frenzy of feeding into the agenda of making things worse. Because the media wants you to click on their website. So, of course, we have no journalistic responsibility of taking the time to look into the consequences and accountability of what is being posted, what is being said, and the information in these news articles. You remember Tom Brokaw with the nightly news? Tom Brokaw, Barbara Walters. There's some older dudes. Dudes. There's some old timers, I'll call them. Wisdom. Journalistic integrity. All that's gone. Forget about it. It's all replaced with advertising. Because it wants you to feed into misrepresented information, which has no basis whatsoever, and it influences your daily choices. It influences your well-being and your quality of life, because it's all negative. See, I'm already getting worked up. So we're going to go back down to Stupido virus. What we'll call it is the second wave coming in, and we will basically use, what do we got? Consonants and nouns. I'm an author. I should know this. STU, COVID, Stuvido. We're going to call it Stuvido. Stuvido or Stuvido 20, because it's 2020, so we'll take the number there. COVID-19. We'll just make it Stuvido, Stupido virus, and mass hysteria, crisis level events are happening more often because irresponsible people, not to generalize everybody, but there are people out there who have no idea of the consequences of your actions or their actions. And there are a select group of people running around with cell phones, because everybody has a cell phone now. So it's changed. If you think about when it was organized, we had great leaders like Martin Luther King. He was human, made some mistakes, but he was organized, level-headed. He brought people together inclusively, organizing in a peaceful and calm manner. Let's talk this out. We're going to have a speech. We're going to walk. We're going to have some signs, justice, peace, civil rights movement. It was a civil rights movement. We need to create equality, organization, look, think, and act with responsible behaviors. That's all it is. When you run down the street in an unorganized protest, yelling, causing a commotion, breaking things, smashing car windows, breaking into businesses, burning down houses and businesses, that is not organized. You're not going to make a difference. That's why protesting, shouting, immature adults behaving in childish manners, it's not going to make a difference. Stupido 2020. Stuvido 20 is the new wave of a virus that is basically the same principle of a pandemic, because it's a mental interruption and a lack of common sense that spreads across borders, is fueled by false information, our leaders who have no clue how to operate, how to function, how to coordinate, how to interact together. We have no reason to think that any solutions are going to be provided to make a change or a difference. You've got one side yelling against the other. What do you think? You've got all this information. You're the 400 million citizens in America, and we can't come up with a group of moderate to maybe a little bit more higher on the level of intelligence who can come up with solutions to say, this isn't working. It hasn't worked now for 40 years. We're going in the same direction. 400 million people, and we can't come up with a group smart enough to say, this isn't working, let's try this. We have too many people and a broken down system that is not functioning in an effective manner to come up with solutions to the current problems that they're presented with. Experts, the administration, they're doing this. And so yes, they are trying to help, but the government, the administration, is not responsible to fix the problem. You are. You are a responsible individual working through the stages of learning and development, and people are out acting like immature children. The children, I've seen videos of children speaking and more intelligent than adults and their parents. And we wonder what's happening. Where's the problem? Where do you think the problems lie? Where do you think the solutions can make change? What solutions are going to create effective change? Because the current leadership, doesn't matter who it is, you're going to blame. We all blame somebody. Blame has to be put on something or someone. There's finger pointing. You aren't doing this, so the other person needs to do this. And these comments you like to put on social media, these comments you like to put on the news feeds, It's all sparking the flame within mass confusion, mass hysteria, and everybody gets their emotions in the way, and then you start making more escalations and arguments online to provoke someone else because it's all computer, armchair commentary, and now everybody's a professional investigative journalist, and they want to add their post-op and their opinion and their section in the comments to say, well, if it was to happen this way, I could solve a lot of your problems, but you're just too stupid to listen to me. A bunch of BS. So, Stupido Virus 2020 causes a massive uproar, and our court systems are failing. There are a few bad apples in some of the states, and we've identified them. There's been a lot of unfortunate events that are just unbelievable. There's no excuse for putting your knee on the back of any human being's neck for more than 10 seconds till you put the handcuffs on. Detain them, stand them up like a human being just because they've made a mistake, and nobody intervenes. Your coworkers and the police officers next to you say, hey, excuse me, you're going at this the wrong way. You need to stop and step back, and we need to step in and intervene to de-escalate the situation. There's no reason to go ahead and confront and escalate the situation on the protesting side, because if you did it in an organized manner, nobody would get hurt. Write down your thoughts, your ideas. You go ahead and send those ideas in an email, a letter, or make a phone call and leave a voicemail on your representative's voicemail. Send them an email. And all of these emails and thoughts compiled, received, are going to make a lot more difference than standing out, yelling, running, screaming at this person. You find someone that you don't agree with because they're wearing a certain type of clothing, or they're different than you, and that scares you because it's different. Something different causes fear, and the abnormal situation creates an abnormal reaction, which is now the norm. It's normal to behave in an abnormal environment with erratic behavior. And you know what it's going to lead to, because you've come up with the name. You've come up with the names and all of the current cliches and the stereotypes, and then it escalates more. So who's going to be the one to step up? What group of people out of the 400 million Americans can step up and say, let's think about this. Let's take a look at it. Let's come up with an action plan, or maybe an assorted variety of action plans, because the prison systems, the current system, the government, the administration, it's working at a turtle pace, while the population and the citizens have instant access to everything, and they're overload. It's information overload with an infrastructure of the institution that cannot handle the needs of the population. That's it right there. The institution cannot handle the needs of the population, and the streamlined institution is so slow that needs to be overhauled. There you go. We need an overhaul. We need to get people into positions who can make active choices. Because the current business model right now is an elderly president. Didn't want to get political. What do you think? These ideas, are they outdated? 30 years, 40 years ago? 1990s business running in the 2020s? We have a new decade. We're in a new century from 100 years ago. And how many wars? That current, or that popular phrase, everybody likes to toss around, and you've been tossing it around. If we don't learn from the past, we are bound to make the mistakes. There's something like that. I don't know. If we don't learn from the past, we'll continue to make the same mistakes. You get what I'm pointing at, though. So now we're going to change the pace, because I've dropped Stuvito 20 on you. Now we're going to get into the news and see what you guys are talking about. My man. Oh, see, look what's happening right now. Isn't this a coincidence? Let's start it over. So we've been... it's not going to work, is it? Oh, no. We've been looking at a lot of things that have been happening. And what a coincidence. Our man, Johnny Depp, it looks like he's in court with his ex-wife. Attacked him on the night he learned he'd lost $650 million. Movie star, human being, Johnny Depp. Never had a violent conviction in his life for domestic violence. And Johnny Depp So anyway, that was just a coincidence. I did not plan that. I've been watching 21 Jump Street today. Johnny Depp pops up, and allegedly they're going through some problems. Another person involved allegedly has past domestic violence relationships. So in that breaking news of what's going on in your world, Johnny Depp has been accused of being a wife beater. Allegedly. And Amber Heard is not the abuser. She's the victim. She's not a survivor. She's not taking the stance that she can't admit her faults. And this really is something that gonna have to wait and find out, due process. But if you look at false accusations, you make a police statement, you file the divorce, and come out. Both sides definitely not in agreement, definitely not resolved. So Johnny Depp, because of things that were said, things that have appeared, and things that have been stated, his life is affected and he loses his job from Pirates of the Caribbean. Allegedly. I don't know what's happening. You think that's fair? Anyway. So let's move on to what's going on over here. Donald Trump. Love him or hate him. I'm going to be unbiased. Look at the current state that we're in. Why are things being allowed and why are there no consequences? Do you think that the current administration cares about the citizens? Or do you think it could be only about an image? Money? Status? Power? Control? I've heard a lot of what this individual, I don't know if there's a name for it. That's a reference. He doesn't have a name. Oh, he's a monster. Pure psychopath in the true term of the sense. It's so rare to capture one alive. Sorry, that was a bad impersonation. You know, there's a lot of people who have tweets, and you've reached this point where certain celebrities have turned into influencers. So they influence what trends in the media, social media, and they influence, they manipulate. You've allowed the internet, social media, and the media, who has no responsible journalism and no consequences for the information they put on their website, and they allow people to influence the current state of the narrative. And everybody, you all have your opinions. We're going to go and we're going to say, what do you think is going to change with the next administration, or with the current administration? You know, because you could get out and vote and get out there and make a difference. Scream and shout. Get in the face of the police officer and then get tased for no reason because you're yelling in his face and you're a threat. And you're running down the street screaming. Everybody's running down the street screaming. Everybody's involved. I've seen all kinds of things in all these videos, and the headlines are biased. And look, Civil rights means equality, inclusive, and making a change for all those citizens living here. And hopefully that example, it overlaps on the global scale. There's much more going on than just me. I'm a grain of sand. I'm not going to make a difference. I don't even know if this recording is going to make a difference. I don't know if the Twisted Mind is going to make a difference. I write books. I don't know if it's ever made a difference in anybody's life. If it has, that's the most amazing thing to me. And I want to get on and leave that political agenda, posturing. Elon Musk is now richer than Warren Buffett for the Business Insider now. And his extreme wealth shows how complicated CEO compensations can create. Because they often are compensated in the form of stock or options rather than cash. But how do they make their money? How did they become so wealthy? Because they were given the form of stock options, and then they sold the stocks to receive cash from the stocks. And they get a discount on the stocks, so then they make more money. Anyway, I want to get to the good story, because I watched a movie last night, and I'm going to say it wasn't too bad. Blackwater. It's an alligator movie. And it's kind of typical. But I'm going to say there were some tense moments. And with the desensitization of media and movies, and we've all, you have all experienced desensitization. A wise man once said, something kind of sad about the way that things have come to be. Desensitized to everything. What became of subtlety? Lyrics by Tool. Copyright. I don't own those. It was a quote. Jim. I'm only a doctor, Jim. Say hello to the Rugs topography. Captain. Scary new scam is targeting work-from-home employees, and employers. And it would seem that Kanye West is running, or made the announcement, that he's planning on running for 2020. Oh, this is politics again. How do you feel about Kanye West becoming your next president? We have the Celebrity Apprentice, a precedence. It's a precedence. The Celebrity Precedence. Presidential. Look, he got there. You voted. And you have a celebrity as the president. You know, Oliver North pretty much helped good old Ronnie out in a bind. Was that the Contra weapons deal? He was a movie star. I'm not saying Donald Trump has any skills on the big screen, but he certainly can act. You probably feel like he cares about you. That's actually what they called the CARES Act. They care about you. And speaking of politicians, why don't we get into the last story of the day, because we're at 45 minutes and I wanted to make sure that everybody gets a taste of this story. Just in case you were wondering and forgot, everything's cool. Take a step back. I'm gonna take the rest of the month off, and I'm gonna get down for you and write you another baggage book. ColbyVanWagoner.com. Now it's your turn to see how you can pitch in and help by going to ColbyVanWagoner.com, checking out that homepage, and helping out a struggling indie author, because I'm not published by a big publishing house making millions of dollars. I'm barely getting by with probably about $600 to $700 a month. I might have a good paycheck coming up, but hey, I'm like many of us. It's like it's hit and miss with me. Nobody's out there working, so nobody's supporting other small businesses or independent authors. When you could spend maybe $5, pick up a book. ColbyVanWagoner.com, Amazon.com. Type in the search Colby Van Wagoner author. Comes up with some books. I got some westerns. I got Psychopath, H.H. Holmes. I got the volumes. I got some zombie reads. I got some kids books. I got a few nonfiction books. My memoir, See Through Myself, is on there. You can see through me. You can read my story. There's a monster. I hear something going on. Something's clicking. So we're going to get back to the last story of the day. Two stories. The Donkey's Farmer Magical Matchmaking Book. The Donkey Farmer's Magical Matchmaking Book. I was just talking about books. That popped up. So this guy, the Donkey Farmer, I almost can't even read it. We're in the era of online dating. You know, all the dating websites, hookup sites. Willie, the Donkey Farmer, has come up with an idea and explains in his thick Irish accent, which I'm not even going to attempt to try, because it'll come out sounding like a British, Scottish, Irish, bad American accent. Bookie! Sorry, that was Mike Myers. You know, wake you up. The Donkey Farmer has written a book and now has the donkey experience that he claims that in his festival every single summer, people take part in his donkey matchmaking festival. Now, I've got this overwhelming Tijuana vibe coming through here that's not pleasant. And I know it's not pleasant for you. I don't know what this guy's talking about. Thousands of singles. Thousands. It says that thousands of singles flock to the otherwise quiet village in Western Ireland for music and the prospects of finding love. Now, all I'm saying here is that there's a farm, there's matchmaking, and it's a festival of 1,000 people, singles. What can go wrong? The festival is set up in one of the makeshift village pubs where unmarried men and women can come seek out the services. What could go wrong? You just add alcohol to the scenario. You bring out some of the good old whiskey and the stout. What could go wrong? The look of the Irish. Oh, shiza. You know that little leprechaun comes out and he starts flicking the donkey's tail. Oh, I'm sorry. I only slept 5 hours last night. I couldn't sleep very well, but I just can't believe this. I don't even know, man. It's just like, it goes down, and this guy's in his 70s, and he says he's matched up to 3,000 couples. So I don't know what the other dating websites have on donkey dating. He raises horses, cows, donkeys, and lambs. He has 8 children. He's twice divorced. Looks like this is going in the right direction. Now, I'm not sure. And Ireland's a little bit behind the times when it comes to being open to certain marital matchmaking. And I mean, I don't know. Didn't divorce just get voted in the last 20 years? Often people come for the donkeys and are very surprised to find out they can be matched up as well. Now, I don't get that. It's a vague statement. I don't want to know. I walked in the door once in Tijuana and I walked right back out the door. And I tried to tell my girlfriend at the time that you don't go down to Tijuana after the sun goes down for certain reasons. But she insisted. We went and walked across, and boy, they got a McDonald's down there. I'm sure that's booming. And we were walking and down the thing, and the stairs, and the circling cement spiral walkway. Hey, would you guys like to come in for 2-for-1 drinks? She's like, what? Yeah, let's go. That's a good deal. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're not in San Diego. You're not in America anymore. You're in Tijuana. If you order a drink somewhere, what's the rule of thumb? Someone serves you a drink in a bar, even in America, you just drink it? Let me buy you a drink. I don't think so. And it doesn't happen. It happens to both genders. Females to males, males to females, and it's wrong. You do not do that. So, the magical book of the donkey farmer's matchmaking success. I don't even know. His last name's Dally? Willie Dally. Oh, and there's a fire. And he stands outside and makes jokes. Man, all I could imagine is Irish kegs and Irish whiskey, singles, 1,000 participants at a festival, donkeys, horses, and sheep. Okay, what could go wrong? I think we're talking about natural selection. So let's get into sharks. Oh, please pop up. Oh, yes. Oh, 5 expert tips to surviving a shark attack. This is it, folks. This is the grand finale. If you find yourself confronted by a shark, you're likely to turn out with the short end of the stick or a mouthful of teeth. So we're going to get to number 1. This guy is an expert. He was attacked and lost, or he was injured to his arm and leg. And he says it was a bull shark. Doesn't blame the shark. The shark was just doing what a shark does in the ocean. How to survive a shark attack is to not go in shark-infested waters. I'm a little active. I'm a little active here. I get a little overactive. "66 confirmed attacks in Florida, 2018. 32 were unprovoked attacks." How do they know? Where an attack on a live human. Unprovoked attacks, where an attack on a live human occurs in the shark's natural habitat with no human provocation of the shark. So you hear that? Don't go protesting near the beach. And don't go in the water. First rule of thumb is don't panic around a shark. Because everybody knows when you're in the water and you're swimming or you're standing there on the beach and suddenly a shark appears, the first thing you're going to tell yourself is stay calm and don't panic. It's only 8 feet long. What is your first reaction when you see a predator in the wild? So this says, don't panic, which in most every case, you're probably going to crap your pants because a shark is there and he's coming right at you. So he senses your panic. The shark will go into predatory mode because you're panicking. And of course you are. So that's rule number 1. The second rule of thumb is to maintain eye contact with the shark. The best thing to do is stare down that shark. Keep your eyes on that shark's eyes. Like, make the 2 fingers to your eyes and point back at the shark. Like, I got you. Show them you're a predator as well. Because your chances against a shark, and when you're staring and maintaining eye contact, your survival is much greater because you're in a stare down contest. And you know that shark doesn't want to start anything if you're prepared to fight as well. Which brings it to the third rule of thumb. If a shark attacks, fight back. neither of you can decide who's going to be the food in this scenario, because you're in the water and the shark's in the water, and neither of you have any say in the matter. That shark, he's probably scared of you, and you're scared of him, so you're both going to react. Now, you might freeze, or you might run, but that's the rule number one, is don't panic and don't run. But how can you not? I mean, even in a, shark's going to come up, and it's going to go, and it's going to bite you to see what you are. So the shark's going to stare at you, and you're supposed to stare back, and you fight back. So what do? You poke his eyes out because you're staring at him. So you've already got you got your eye focused. You got the attack point on the eyeball. Just poke his eye. So the shark's going to grab you, and you're going to feel pressure, but you're not going to feel the teeth immediately puncture your skin, because you don't feel the pain until it starts shaking you back and forth. And you're surprised, you're in shock that there's a shark there in the first place. So you punch it, and you punch it in the face, because the shark's most sensitive area is the nose and the gills. So you go for the eyes, nose, and gills. Those are good targets, because you're first thinking, there's a shark coming at me. You're staring it down. You're calm and relaxed, and you're selecting your attack targets. So where can you attack the shark? Eyes, nose, and gills. So if a shark bites you, and you manage to get out of its big 3-foot gaping jaws, and now you have to get back to shore, and the fifth rule of thumb, as you're trying to get back to shore, is try not to look at your wounds, because you're going to go into shock. You're going to go into shark if you're not already in the shark. Don't look at the wound, and you won't go into shock. So it's like when you're afraid of heights and someone tells you, don't look down. Just don't look down. The first thing you do is look down. I mean, it makes sense. You cut yourself. You don't feel anything mentally until you look down at the cut and you see yourself bleeding. So if you're in the water and you've managed to not panic, you've managed to stare down and punch the shark in the face, and you got to get back to shore. Either way, you got to get back to shore. And that means you might have been attacked. You're bleeding all over the place, and there's more sharks showing up. So hopefully you're not too far out. It might be horrific, but just don't look at your wounds. And then you might make it back to shore, and you might not. Pretty much the Twisted Mind, Fueling Thought, Season 1, Episode 5, improvisational style-y. That's all I got for you. And, it's July 14th. Brought to you by Earth's natural resource, water. This is the Twisted Mind, Fueling Thought, Season 1, Episode 5, improvisational style-y. From the Tintic High Desert Mountains, I'm your host, Colby Van Wagoner. Peace, I'm out. Be good to each other out there. look, think, act. Make good decisions. Best wishes to you. Wish you guys the best. I wish you all the best. Take care.